is your commercial-free news source for the classroom. Welcome to CNN Student News. I'm Carl Azus. First up this Monday, President Obama headed overseas last night on a week-long trip. His first stop in Amsterdam, the capital of Netherlands. He'll attend a summit on nuclear security there and touch base with a group of leaders from Asia before he travels to that region next month. Then he's on his way to Brussels, the capital of Belgium. He has a speech scheduled there on Wednesday. A major focus of this trip will be the crisis in Ukraine. President Obama wants more sanctions against Russia for annexing Crimea, making that region part of Russia. But European leaders depend on Russia for some of their energy resources. They might be hard to convince. The president's also visiting Rome, Italy, and touring the Colosseum. He'll meet with Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church. The president has praised the Pope for some of the topics he's addressed, but the Obama administration has clashed with the church on other issues. Last stop is Friday in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. Possible topics of discussion include everything from Iran's nuclear program to Syria's civil war. A lot of ground and serious subjects to cover.
Time for the shout out. Whose flag is this? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it the flag of Scotland, Finland, Greece, or Guam? You've got 3 seconds. Go! This is the flag of Scotland, which is part of the United Kingdom. That's your answer, and that's your shout out.
Scotland has been part of the United Kingdom since the UK was created in 1707. But that might change in September. That's when Scottish voters will decide whether to remain part of the UK or to make Scotland independent once again. British Prime Minister David Cameron wants Scotland to stay as it is. He says this will give Scots security and strength as part of the UK. But the Scottish National Party, which supports independence, says a vote for it will mean a better and fairer life for Scots. The British government agreed to the vote, but the UK doesn't have a written constitution to guide this process. One other question: would an independent Scotland still recognize Queen Elizabeth II as its queen? The monarchy is mostly ceremonial, of course, but it's popular. A second vote may be needed to determine that.
In 6 months, the people of Scotland will cast their votes on secession from the UK. If they vote for independence, Scots have been warned that they risk losing the pound as their currency. London could lose some control over oil and gas in the North Sea, but they might also have to say cheerio to something more symbolic: the beloved Union Jack. You see, the current flag, which hasn't changed in over 200 years, is a mix between England's Cross of St. George, Scotland's Cross of St. Andrew, and Ireland's Cross of St. Patrick. If Scotland leaves the Union, would St. Andrew's Cross get the boot? People sent ideas for alternatives to the UK's national flag charity, and The Guardian asked Brits to choose from 12 options. Should Britain incorporate the Welsh flag of St. David, slide the Welsh national flag into the corner? What about adding the Royal Coat of Arms to a modified Union Jack? The winner? This one. Well, the Brits are nothing if not traditional. Scotland's blue has simply been replaced with black, perhaps to mourn the loss of Scotland. Luckily, many say this won't be necessary. After all, what would happen to all the British overseas territories, and a few countries for that matter, that include the Union Jack in their national flags?
In a small town north of Seattle, Washington, a landslide struck on Saturday night. The region has gotten a lot of rain over the past month. Officials say the ground got so saturated that it just gave way. The governor of Washington state said he'd never seen devastation like it. About a square mile was affected. At least 3 people were killed and several others are still missing. There are a couple challenges for rescuers here. One, getting to people who might be trapped behind or underneath mud that's like quicksand. Emergency officials say it's 15 feet deep in some places. 2, the ground is still highly unstable in some areas. There's still the threat of flooding, so rescuers can't search everywhere they need to. At least 6 houses were destroyed in this, many more were damaged. China says its satellites might have located some debris from a missing Malaysia Airlines plane. Satellite images from Australia, from France, also indicate possible large objects. Search planes are continuously scouring parts of the Indian Ocean where floating objects were detected. But so far, nothing has been recovered. No sign of the aircraft, no sign of the 239 people aboard more than 2 weeks after it vanished. There are two major search areas, over 23,000 square miles of ocean.
The ocean is huge. I don't know that all the ocean has been looked at yet. I kind of doubt it. They will find pieces of this airplane somewhere soon.
This is a vast area to search, but they believe now that they have some information at least. This plane may have flown up to 4 or 5 hours out into the Indian Ocean.
9,000 miles searched, but nothing to show for it, for 5 planes scouring the vast waters of the Indian Ocean.
Over time, those pieces of aircraft can continue to sink, especially in the roughest sea as it is out there.
It takes the search planes roughly 4 hours to fly to the search zone. Each plane will have only 2 critical hours to comb the area before making the 4-hour journey back.
We really don't know where the aircraft might be, so the area of uncertainty is much bigger than what it was for the Air France 447 search.
It's about the most inaccessible spot that you could imagine on the face of the earth. But if there is anything down there, we will find it. We owe it to the families of those people to do no less.
East Coast, West Coast, it's time for a cross-country roll call. Starting in Warminster, Pennsylvania, we called roll and heard from the Panthers. They're on the prowl at William Tennant High School. The Longhorns are afoot. In Meeteetse, Wyoming, hello to the students of Meeteetse High School. And in the Pacific Northwest, Adna, Washington, that's where the Pirates are at Adna High School. CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's a life-saving technique that can be used after everything from near drownings to heart attacks. Thanks in part to a high school baseball player who knew CPR, the umpire calling his game survived it after a collapse. The story from a school east of Atlanta, Georgia is the subject of today's character study.
16-year-old Alex Norwood and his baseball coach looked on as Newton County's varsity team played Saturday afternoon with vivid memories of what happened just hours earlier on Friday night.
It was in between innings, in between the second and the third inning, and Newton was on the field throwing their warm-up pitches, and the umpire just collapsed.
Norwood said his instincts kicked in and he ran over to help the umpire, who was suffering from some sort of medical emergency. This is video of the umpire from an iPad just moments before the incident.
He had gotten someone to call 911, and he said, "Does anybody know CPR?" And I got certified a little while ago, so I went out there and I checked for a pulse and started doing compressions.
Norwood had just become CPR certified 2 weeks ago.
I didn't think I'd ever really need to use it, but I'm really glad that I know how to do it now, and this is evidence as to why it's important to know how to do it.
Jared Harris coaches Norwood's team at Rockdale High School.
I thought I was going to turn around and see a professional. I thought I was going to see an EMT worker. That's how confident the voice behind me was, and when I turned around and saw Alex.
I feel like I really didn't do that much. I feel like I only got it started, but I really didn't do that much before the EMT got there, and I feel like it was more the coaches and the EMT that really did it.
Not only that, Harris says this incident is an important reminder.
Really speaks on the importance of not only being CPR certified, but that anybody can do it.
Before we go, it's said that American crocodiles are pretty shy unless something's edible. Unfortunately for the new owner of this GoPro camera, the croc thought it was edible. Big Boy, that's the name of the croc. He lives at a wildlife preserve in Florida. A worker there built a special case for his new camera to get some underwater footage of Big Boy. But the moment the camera hit the water, the croc attacked and destroyed. What's funny is the store allowed the camera to be returned, which is excellent customer service, especially after it went snap, crackle, pop. There must have been crocs in its armor, or it just couldn't compete with the champion. Anyway, it's a good thing few people try this. Return reps would just tear up. They'd be so swamped. I'm Carl Azus, and we'll see you later, alligator.